Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today we are having another Magic Talk with Toad. Say hello, Toad.
Hello.
Hello. Anyway, so today uh, we are doing a deck update. We've had a few of these already for some of our more iconic list, but this is one we haven't visited in a few months now that I kind of want to get back into playing, or at least teach a friend how to play it because they really want to get into value vintage. And this is a deck they're familiar with from Modern. And for those who are just listening and not watching, we are going to go over Lantern. This deck is a thrill. And by a
It
thrill,
is the opposite of a thrill.
I think it's
No one
amazing.
is thrilled.
I am thrilled.
This deck is a dentist office waiting room experience.
I don't know, I've never had a bad time at the dentist. Anyway,
Okay, so
so value vintage for those watching, it's vintage. It's just vintage. It's all vintages. Only the deck and the sideboard have to be less than $30. So we have to build lantern control for less than $30.
that means you're not getting a four of ensnaring bridge. You're not getting some of the other stuff that you get in modern to really lock down the board. You kind of have to play a little bit more strategically about which of your opponent's resources you're going to allow them to have and which ones they can never get or you just lose.
Yeah. So, but
Do you want to share your screen with
oh yeah,
me?
no problem. The other thing though is there are a few things that we get in value vintage that we don't get in modern. So just briefly going over this stuff, and we'll go over it more in a minute. But we get stuff like balance, which is great.
Yep, we get to play a balance. Balance is one of my favorite cards in the game. Now that I've gotten into value vintage, it is hilarious to resolve a balance against most decks.
It's so good. It feels great. I recommend it. If you've never gone to play balance before, play value vintage. Balance is great. We love balance. We also get to run
We
portent,
also,
which
yep,
a little underwhelming at times, or it seems like it. But this card can be really, really backbreaking.
you get to ponder the opponent's library if you want to,
Yeah.
which is good when you're trying to control what they draw.
So it's a very funny card. And then there's the main lock itself, which is Rest in Peace and Energy Field. Rest in Peace is modern legal, but Energy Field is not.
Yep. So what this does is it prevents all damage to you when you have both of them out. Energy Field will prevent all damage to you, but it's very fragile because if a card goes to your graveyard, it dies. Rest in Peace makes it so that cards never go to graveyard. So instead of Ensnaring Bridge, we have a damage lock, which is better against burn, but it's also better against graveyard decks because one of our lock pieces is Rest in Peace, which is just one of the best graveyard hate cards ever.
Is it the best graveyard hate card ever? Maybe.
No, I think it's not strictly better than like Leyline of the Void or Tormod's Crypt or Surgical Extraction.
Oh, that's fair. But it tries.
But let's go over quickly like what this deck is trying to do. This is a prison deck, which means we want to deny the opponent the ability to interact on at least one axis of the game. And this one is doing that by locking them out of damaging us, but we are also heavily invested in managing what the opponent draws. So the deck is named after Lantern of Insight, which makes everybody play with their top card revealed. And we also have Mishra's Bauble, which can look at a top card once. And then we have two 1-mana artifacts as four ofs that can mill either both players or target player. So the opponent needs to draw a removal spell for one of our enchantments, and they have a naturalize on top. We're going to put it in their graveyard or exile it with rest in peace. If they need a counter spell to stop our balance, we're just going to make them not draw a counter spell until we've already cast the balance.
Now, this deck is a little bit hard to play because you have to know your opponent's deck better than they do. You have to know what to expect, what to see, what to look for, and what would help them best. So, it is a little bit of a challenge, but it's a very fun challenge. Because it really tests you as a player and, like, how you approach cards and card value and how you do threat assessment.
Yep. So Drew has his list that we're looking at right now, and I have my own list that is based on the list that we put together, but I have made some changes to it just to fit the way that I prefer to play Magic.
So let's look at your changes and we'll talk through them. And then I have some considering cards in mind, and my current budget's at $26.49.
Yep, I've took mine to 29.90 something, so we're maxed out pretty much.
Okay, so talk to me about Lauren.
So being able to answer artifacts and enchantments is very useful in this deck. And besides counter spells, we don't really have main deck ways to do it. So I like a one of Lauren just to have something that we can dig for to answer a problematic artifact or enchantment.
Okay.
And we can actually use Lauren as a draw spell because when the deck is operating properly, we know whether the opponent is going to draw a card that does something to us or not.
Alright.
So if the opponent has a bunch of lands and we're just giving them lands, if there's a land on top of their deck, we get to draw a card and they get a land that doesn't help them. Or if we've set up the rest in peace energy field lock, we can give them a lightning bolt or a fire blast or a creature and just be like, here, you can have this. It doesn't do anything to us.
Yeah.
And Lauren is probably going to die because it's the only target for creature removal. But if we have blown up an artifact or enchantment and drawn a card or two and they kill Lauren, that's totally fine.
She served her purpose.
Yeah, usually in this deck you avoid running creatures because they just give your opponents a target for removal. Where we have one creature and some lands that make or become creatures. So it's totally fine to give them some targets because we're going to know usually what's in their hand and if they have removal, and we're going to control whether or not they're drawing removal. So we can play Lauren, start getting our value, and then we can just start giving them removal. And like they use one on Lauren, and then every other piece of removal we give them does nothing.
Yeah, that's really clever. I've put in the considering for my list.
Yep. And then I've messed around with the counter spells. When we've played test games with Lantern, I have found that lose focus and spell pierce in the main deck. Your goal in this deck is to make the game go super long. So spell pierce becomes a dead card, and lose focus can become pretty clunky to take advantage of. So I actually replaced them with some hard counters that are more lock pieces. So I've got 3 spell burst, which is somewhat inefficient early on, but it's a lock by itself late game.
Okay.
And then I've got 2 new Final Fantasy cards that I'm interested in trying. So we can sacrifice Lauren to pay for 2 mana of this, but like ignore that. I'm not really planning on that being a thing. But this is a 3 mana Stifle or Negate. And it only requires 1 colored mana, so our mana base doesn't get taxed too heavily to cast this. And we're mostly worried about non-creature spells because we have balance and Shatter the Sky and Swords to Plowshares and the Rest in Peace energy field. So what we want to be able to stop is things like Doomsday and Boom Bust and Hymn to Turok maybe. And this will do that. It doesn't do it like super efficiently again, but our goal is to get to the late game. And so if we're gonna play for the late game, we need to have cards that are stronger late instead of cards that are stronger early. Because if we manage to set up the lock and then we have 2 Spell Pierces and a Shatter the Sky and the opponent's on a combo deck, they probably just beat us anyway.
Yeah. I like the Luasu Sacrifice as opposed to Spell Pierce.
Yeah, and then I moved the Spell Pierces to the sideboard. So if we're playing against like Channel Mirror or another super fast combo deck, we still have them. We just don't have them game 1.
Yeah. Then
I cut 1 Ghoul Collar spell because I think eight of that effect is not necessary, and I think Codex Shredder is slightly better than the Bell, even though you're not really using the graveyard synergy. Like, you're not getting stuff back because you have Rest in Peace. So ideally, all the graveyards are going to be exiled, but being able to choose who you want to mill instead of having to do both players is slightly better in my opinion.
Yeah.
I tried to fit in Day of Judgment. If we weren't running the Lauren is about $1.80, we could upgrade the Shatter the Skies to Day of Judgments. I just think Lauren gives the deck another angle that it doesn't otherwise have in a couple different ways.
Yeah.
And then Yeah, go ahead.
I'm adding the Louis Sues and the Lauren. Because, like, those are brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's an argument that just actual negate is a reasonable card for this deck at 22 cents or 20 cents or whatever it's at. But the ability to counter the triggers is very interesting to me, because one of the things that this deck is going to struggle with is a Resolved Planeswalker.
Yeah.
And if you have a way to say, no, you don't get to ultimate a Planeswalker, that's an avenue of control that you don't otherwise have. And so that's why I'm interested in trying these.
Yeah.
And then I'm running them over Nimble Obstructionist just because they're a negate. Negate is something we're also interested in.
Yeah. And then I saw in the lands your favorite, Dust Bowl.
I think that this deck can take advantage of Dust Bowl. I think it can also take advantage of Monumental Henge. I haven't been super impressed with multiple copies of Seagate Wreckage when we're testing. One of them is good pretty often, but 4 of them is a bit much. It's really awkward to try and get 2 to work at the same time, so there's no point in having access to multiples usually.
Yeah.
And then I put in the Monumental Henge, which finds all of our lanterns and shredders and the Lauren. And then I put in a Hall of the Sea Giants, which becomes just a huge creature that's fairly hard to answer. And again, we're going to have a pretty good idea of if the opponent is able to answer this before we ever animate it.
Yeah.
There's also an argument for Celestial Colonnade, but like, I think that just the huge body is better than the flying.
Okay.
Also, the Sea Giant Hall comes in untapped early, which when you're trying to slam Energy Field Rest in Peace on like turn 2, turn 3, it does help to have an untapped land.
Yeah. I'm adding some of these right now, and I will tinker with it because we're pretty early on the episode.
Yeah, we're kind of talking through things. Like, I know you have things in your list that you like. Your list was under budget, so technically we didn't have to change anything, but just I think the deck, like, there's always room to optimize.
Oh, for sure.
And we've kind of gotten a feel for the Southwest Ohio metagame a little bit. And we've been playing Value Vintage for longer now at this point, so we kind of have a feel for what works and what doesn't. My list, I put Sorceress Spyglass on the sideboard. Again, Resolved Planeswalkers are kind of a nightmare if they do anything relevant. And also, things like Filigree Silex are pretty good against this deck, we found in our testing. So being able to just like come down and say, no, you don't actually get to pop your Filigree Silex or your Ratchet Bomb is a meaningful interaction piece for this deck as well. And it lets you look at the opponent's hand. Like normally, that's not worth the extra mana over Pithing Needle, but Sorcerer's Spyglass is like a nickel, and Pithing Needle is like 30, 40 cents. So again, we're making some card quality concessions to fit this Lauren in and to fit the Monumental Hinge in, because those are both like slightly pricier cards. And the Louisus are also like 50 cents.
Is it Louisu or Louisu?
I have no idea. I don't know which Final Fantasy game they are from.
14?
I guess.
Apparently he's a grandfather?
Yeah. But yeah, I think there's just some interesting stuff that we can do. I know that you've been thinking about adding black to your list.
I've thought about it, but like, I
wouldn't
exactly
do it for
how.
the discard.
Yeah. Like, we have the Black Lantern list, but like that one in testing hasn't played very well. It hasn't done much.
Yeah. What I would actually add to Black Lantern is the Kaya that deals damage equal to exiled stuff.
Yeah.
The problem with that is Energy Field does not protect your planeswalkers.
Yeah.
So you run your own creature lands to deal with opposing planeswalkers sometimes, but the opponent's creatures that you are wanting to let them have, because like vanilla creatures don't really attack you, so you're fine letting the opponent have like 5 or 6 of them before you have to blow them up. You can't let them have it if you're trying to ultimate a planeswalker.
Yeah. It's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, Vindicate, I think, definitely would be a good card to have access to. And it's not super difficult to build a 3-color mana base with the Modern Horizons 3 common fetches, the landscape cycle, and the like Sunken Hollow cycle is super cheap now. Some of the fast lands are very cheap now, so we could make 3 colors work. The question is really just, do we want Vindicate enough to mess with the mana base?
I don't think so.
I definitely wouldn't run the discard, because we're trying to make it so that we don't care about anything our opponent draws, and if they do somehow draw out, it's going to be a random top deck that we can't stop them from having, so the discard won't even do anything.
That was when I was trying to originally get like concept ideas for making it closer to Modern Lantern, which runs a few of them.
Yeah, in Modern though, you're worried about the opponent having stuff like Force of Negation and what's the Force of Vigor is the green one. Yeah, those are very common in Modern, and they are easy ways to stop or disrupt your Lantern lock. Force of Vigor is almost playable in Value Vintage. Force of Negation is just impossible to fit.
How much is Vigor?
So, like $3 or $4.
Is it really that playable?
It's a very good card for $3. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's
The
not.
problem is you don't usually want to spend a bunch of your budget on sideboard cards. You
Yeah.
want it to be your engine cards.
Yeah.
So like you're fine spending $3 and change on an Oath of Druid. You don't want to spend it on a really good naturalize.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't really have to worry about free counter spells here. The only one that's really good is Commandeer, and the thing about Commandeer is that if they Commandeer Rest in Peace or Energy Field, it doesn't matter. They do the same thing under the opponent's control.
Yeah.
So it's really just foil and daze. Daze you can afford to play around generally in this deck, and foil is not commonly run. You have to be basically mono blue to take full advantage of foil.
Yeah. And usually if it's mono blue, then we just play... It's high tide, we play Damping Sphere. Or Test Downs.
Well, more what we would be worried about would be like mono blue fairies, where they can present a clock and disruption, and they're trying to counter or bounce or whatever your lock pieces or Rest in Peace Energy Field.
Yeah.
But the problem is they don't even play foil. So like the deck that we're worried about having interaction is usually on days, almost never on foil, rarely sideboards Commandeer. So we can just play around the dazes. Like just wait. Their clock is not usually going to be lethal on turn 4. So we can play around days on our Rest in Peace and Energy Field, especially if we have a Soul Ring.
Oh, for sure.
Or a Swords to Plowshares to get rid of their Curiosity guy first up.
Mm-hmm. So I think I like how the deck is. I'm still keeping the loose focuses, just because they're a little bit more versatile, and I don't. I understand where you're coming from with Spell Burst, and it is loopable. But I think if we have a little bit more control over the early game, it's a little bit better. Not Spell Pierce early, but like, I think loose focus is good early game. Because I'm just recalling a lot of
it's not bad, but like early on, what we're worried about the opponent doing is establishing a clock. And we have Swords to Plowshares, Balance, Shatter the Sky for that. So they're going to try and lead off with their threats. And we are going to use our removal to stop them and then set up a lock. And that's the point at which we want to have access to reliable counter magic. And we don't want to spend 4 mana to make lose focus functional.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I feel more comfortable with it in for now. I can test it and we can fix it. That's kind of why we're doing an episode like this. We played this a good amount. We did a few gameplay episodes with it. I've played it in person once or twice. I've played it online once or twice. The hard part about playing Lantern, especially with you, is you know how to play against Lantern.
I know how my decks work, and I know how Lantern works, and I can be planning 4 or 5 turns ahead about how I need to fix my draws to make it so that I maximize my chances of getting what I need. And that makes it more difficult for the Lantern player. Like, a lot of people playing against Lantern just get frustrated and then like stop caring about the game. A lot of the time it's still winnable, even when they have a Lantern and 1 Shredder.
But, like, part of Lantern's win con is making your opponents want to get to that point.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. I never get to that point. I'm playing for my outs.
Dang. It really do be a skill issue.
To a degree, yeah. Like, if you give up, then you should concede. Like, if you don't think you're going to win the game and you don't know how it would look like to draw into the win, you should be conceding. You shouldn't be making them play it out because you need to sideboard. Like, the post sideboard games are usually better for you against Lantern.
Yeah. That's the hard part is I've played it twice in person. Once it wasn't like a 4-player night, so we barely fired. And then once was like a full night. A full night, I think I got like third,
Yeah.
which wasn't too bad. It was 8 people, and the first few games, if I remember correctly, went pretty fast. Just because I set up that lock and the person's like, "All right, what do I do now?" I tell them, "This
Yeah.
is what's going on."
Nothing. You don't do anything.
I'm like, this is how the game works.
Yeah.
Then the second game, first person's like, "Okay," they wanted me to play it out. They won. I won game 1. They won game 2. Game 3 is like, "Oh, hey, is this that Ristic Studies deck?" Sure, kinda. And they're like, "All right." So it works like this. I just showed you how it worked out. I won game 1.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, I guess that makes sense. I'll give you the game.
I think
And then the third match is
Lantern
against you.
is yeah, Lantern is the deck that out of every deck in any format really punishes people for not knowing whether or not they're dead.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will think they're dead when they actually are like 20% to win. And a lot of people will think they're 20% to win when they just deterministically do not have the outs. Like they would need all 4 copies of their relevant card to be on top of their deck together, top 4 equal 4 cards. And that just mathematically isn't worth playing to if it's going to take you another 20 minutes to find out.
If I drew all 3 of my psychic frogs in a row, I would have won. I'm sure you
Yeah.
would.
Yeah. If I had ripped every Swords to Plowshares in my deck in a row, and then a counterspell, and then balance, and yeah, like it's just you need to think whether your plan to win the game. Like first off, you have to have a plan to win the game. You can't just be like, well, I built my deck to do something, and so probably it'll do something. You have to be like, I'm playing against this deck. They have these tools already assembled. How do I beat these, and how do I beat the next thing that they're going to do? So like maybe they have Rest in Peace Energy Field but no Shredder. Okay, I can build up a board, I can draw into things and hold enchantment removal for when they try and do the lock. Or I have Pithing Needle in my deck. I can lock down their Shredder, and then I get myself a couple draws to try and find something relevant. It can't just be, well, my deck is good cards, so I'll probably draw some good cards, because you will not. You will not draw good cards unless you know which cards are good and are trying to use what you have at your disposal to get to those good cards.
Yeah. You just gotta know how the deck works.
You have to know how your deck works. You have to know if you have cards that will win you the game, because if the opponent has Rest in Peace, Energy Field, Lantern of Insight, and a Codex Shredder, there's a good chance you don't have anything in your deck that fully gets you out of that. So part of knowing how to play against Lantern is just, okay, they have assembled enough of a lock that I am mathematically dead. Now I'm going to go to sideboard and I'm going to bring in my 4 Seal of Cleansings, and we'll see what that does.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll try it here. We'll play some test games. Like, not between you and I, because we're both not in like real gaming spot. But we'll do some
I
little...
mean, I don't know that goldfishing Lantern is super useful. I would be willing to play one match against your new Lantern list to show how it goes through.
Let's see how much time we have. No, I don't think that'd be fruitful, because like you kind of know how Lantern works, and it'd be a skewed matchup. We'll do some test hands. We'll see how it is, and then we'll just have a short episode for tonight.
That's fine.
It's okay to have a short one.
Yeah, it's kind of just, can you set up some kind of lock by turn 3-ish? Or can you have Swords to Plowshares and a counterspell for whatever your opponent is doing?
Mm-hmm. let's check out these hands. And also, we're at 29.
You catch these hands.
We have a little room for budget, but
there's a little bit of wiggle room. But I think the deck is playable. Like, you don't need anything else. You just have the option. It's always nice to have like 50 cents to $1 of cushion in the list if you don't want to update it constantly.
What's the card that's better than Ghost Quarter? Field of Ruin?
Depends on what you want it to do. I would say the card that's better than Ghost Quarter is Dust Bowl.
Okay. Wasteland's too expensive.
I think Dust Bowl and Lantern Control might be better than Wasteland.
Okay.
Like, again, we are trying to make the game go to turn 30.
Yeah.
Wasteland will answer 1 land. Dust Bowl will answer 3 or 4 if you want to. Like, sometimes you just want to save your lands to do other stuff, but against Cloud Post, Dust Bowl will answer every Trench Post in their deck.
Yeah. That's fair. I am looking at this and looking at your Jimbo list, and your Jimbo list kind of does what this wants to do, just a little bit better.
My Yojimbo list is vulnerable to burn. Like, we have found in testing that burn is the best thing you can do against that deck.
Very true.
And Lantern is very strong against burn.
Yeah, because it has the... I have 2 Land of Sanctity. Should I be running more?
I don't think you need them.
Okay.
Those are more for discard decks than burn decks. You can bring them in against burn, obviously.
Yeah. I have 2 Spyglass, 2 Disenchant, 2 Spell Pierce, 2 Sanctity, 3 Damping Spheres, and 4 Test of Talents.
Yeah, that's totally reasonable. Like, Test of Talents is great against burn.
Yeah. Oh, before we do test hands, what are some cards we'd mulligan out? That's a good question.
I mean, we're looking for either Rest in Peace and Energy Field, or Lantern and a Shredder in the opening hand. If we have a balance, that's awesome. If we have a Soul Ring, that's awesome.
Well, that's for test hands. I'm like, what would we mulligan out? Before we do test hands, what do we mulligan? I mean, not mulligan. Fuck. Sideboard. See, we're both tired.
Oh, yeah. Like, sideboard, against what matchup? What do you mean?
Just like general good sideboarding.
If your opponent doesn't have a lot of creatures, you take out the creature removal for Test of Talents. If the opponent has a bunch of creatures, you can bring in... what did you say you had in your sideboard? Sorry.
That's fine. Sorcerer Spyglass.
If the opponent has a bunch of creatures, you can bring in ley lines if they're on discard or burn. If they're not on creatures or discard or burn, then you probably want Spell Pierce and Test of Talents.
Yeah. Damping Spheres for Cloud Post decks and Storm decks.
Cloud Post and Storm, yeah. It's not great against like Rhinos, because sometimes they can just wait a turn and pay the mana. But we do have Spell Pierce for those as well. And Test of Talents obviously is great against the Cascade decks.
Should we have a Vexing Bauble in
here? It would be good, but I don't know if it's worth the $1.25.
Okay.
You could cut Soul Ring for it, I guess.
No.
Looking at your sideboard, I would like to see some more creature-focused stuff.
Okay.
Not for creatures that are attacking us, but for creatures that have strong abilities. So Sorcerer Spyglass kind of touches that, but it'd be good to have maybe, I don't know, Portable Hole or something.
Okay. So I do Portable Hole instead of Disenchant?
Yeah, that could be good.
That'd be good.
Because if the opponent is trying to swarm us with fast creatures, it is a good option to have a couple of cards we can bring in for that.
Portable hole. I know a few people like that.
Ho, 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 ho. And then portable hole, I like over the enchantment versions because we can find it with the monumental hinge.
That also optimizes our budget a little bit more too.
It gives us a little bit of increased card quality as far as cost goes.
We have about 15 cents left.
Yeah, I wouldn't try and optimize that 15 cents. I'd just leave it. Because, like, if Gold Collar's Bell goes up by 2 cents and Codex Shredder goes up by 1 cent, it eats up that 15 cents.
Yeah, that's fair. I think this is worth trying. We might play it next week. If we do a gameplay episode, we might not. We will see. Like I mentioned a few times, playing this against Toad is just... It's a non-thing. Like...
It is very frustrating for you.
Yeah. Other control list, I kind of feel like I have a chance. Even though, like, I tend to play more aggro, I tend to play more mid-range. Those are just the decks I'm better at. Toad's more the control player. But playing control against control, or just a control deck against a control player, can get real agonizing.
I'm here for a long time, not a good time.
You've already been here a long time. Old Sage Frog. Probably taught Naruto the Sage Path.
No, I don't teach weebs anything.
Oh, I see.
They can go back to Weebtopia.
Isn't that a no, that's a different thing. I was thinking Pop Tropica. Anyway, let's look at some hands. Goldfishing this deck is weird, but ooh.
No, this is a weird one.
Yeah!
Like, if this was putting one back, and we were putting back a lose focus, it'd be great. So, like, I think just having the other lose focus is okay. The problem is, this hand could get run over really hard.
Let's see what we draw. This is silly. Is it a land? Ah! Okay.
That does nothing. Like, that does nothing without the energy field.
Oh, yeah, we're screwed.
Yeah, this doesn't go anywhere. Like, we're not setting up locks either way until, like, turn 5.
Alright, let's deal another hand. One land, nope. One land, nope. How many lands
well, it's one land and Portent. Portent will find you another land. Lantern and Shredder will find you more lands.
Alright, let's try drawing. Right.
Land.
Hey!
Yeah, I think in this format, you don't keep enough one-landers.
You encourage keeping more one-landers.
If you have cantrips, and if you have land cyclers, and Soul Ring, and Simian Spirit Guide, like, there's a bunch of stuff in this format that makes one-landers functional in a way that they aren't in, like, Modern or Commander or Standard.
Interesting.
Or even Pauper.
Interesting. That's some Toad wisdom.
Like, if your one land hand is a untapped dual land like Darkslick Shores and a Soul Ring and a Troll of Khazad Doom and a Elvish Spirit Guide, you have like 6 mana in your one land opening hand.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what deck would be playing all those cards, but one land is not necessarily going to struggle to cast your spells.
Yeah, I am making a slight tinker because I realized I'm running 19 lands, I should be running 20.
Yeah, I think I put mine on 20. You were on 19 before.
Yeah, this is a deck that needs lands. I trimmed out a portent, which makes me sad, but it's whatever.
Yeah. I like drawing lands in this deck. We don't have Ensnaring Bridge, so we're not really worried about getting multiple lands stuck in our hand.
Yeah.
And when the lands we're adding are like Monumental Hinge and Dust Bowl and Hall of the Storm Giants, It's fine. It's fine to have a couple extra lands.
Mm-hmm. I might switch out Storm Giants with Celestial Colonnade.
If it's your list, you can do what you will think is better. I like the ward on it, and I like the massive body on it.
That's fair.
But the flying and vigilance are also relevant.
Yeah. We'll see what it needs more. We'll do that in a later thing. Alright, let's look at our hands again. Now they're a little bit better. Let's do another hand. Perfectly playable. I don't like the energy field.
I think this is a bad hand. It's one or two too many lands. Like if this was just Prairie Stream Island, and then we had a lantern, and we were mauling to 6, this would be great.
Yeah.
If we had a Rest in Peace, this would be great. But this is half of the damage lock and half of the draw lock, and no removal and no counters.
Let's see what the draw is. No. Do another hand. Yeah.
I like this. This is both colors of mana. This is 2 shredders. We get a peek to see if we want to shred on turn 1. And then we have answers to creatures. Creatures are more common than non-creatures because a lot of the combo decks are also creatures. You're really only looking at like hard control lists where the Swords to Plowshares and Shadow of the Sky are not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And even the control decks, like Standstill, does run creatures.
I've not played against a Standstill list.
I have. It is one of the best. Like, there's 10 ways to build blue-white control in this format, and Standstill is one of the better ones.
Interesting.
And you get to play Prairie Dog.
I'm sorry, Prairie Dog?
Prairie Dog.
What does Prairie Dog do?
It gets big when you do nothing. It has lifelink. That's it. It's just lifelink and it gets big.
Huh.
He's a little guy.
I don't disbelieve you, but I gotta see. Huh.
Just a little guy.
I'll be damned. It's a squirrel?
Don't get into the Prairie Dog Squirrel thing. There's a lot of controversy. But if you've ever been looking at a 7/7 Prairie Dog with a Standstill in play, you will know true fear.
That sounds hilarious. That sounds very funny. I'm so glad we have Value Vintage, because that means a card like Prairie Dog gets some play.
Absolutely.
And the foil's only 15 cents.
He's a little guy. I should buy some foil Prairie Dogs and get them signed by the artist.
I mean, I talked to a person who handles artist signatures at Atlanta.
Yeah.
Alright, let's do... We're at 43 minutes. Let's do a few more hands and then we'll call it.
I think we can wrap it up at like 45, 50 minutes. That's fine.
Yeah. It's 44. Let's do 2 more. Yeah.
No blue mana. I don't like this.
You don't like this?
Yeah, we once again, we have half of each of the combos. We only have 1 color of mana. We do get to cast Balance with this hand and then follow it up with a Lauren. So, like, there's not nothing going on here, but this hand can stumble very hard and just get run over.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah.
We get to peek and shred twice. We have both our colors. We get a Rest in Peace. So Rest in Peace by itself is better than Energy Field by itself as an opener, because there are decks in the format where if we have a turn 2 Rest in Peace, they do start to struggle, like Manaless Dredge, Hogak Roots. Cephalid Breakfast can kind of play through it if they have the right cards, but they don't like it at all. So we can kind of lean into this one and draw a couple cards.
Hey!
There we go. So that's a lock with a shredder. This is what the deck is hoping to do. We get to mill random cards until we find a lantern, so we're making progress towards one of our win conditions.
Hey!
Yeah, there's the lantern. Yeah, this is a perfect hand right here.
Let's go!
And we're gonna get that lantern and energy field quickly because we are turn 1 bobble, turn 2 bobbling them.
Give us a land. Give us a land. Give us a land. Ah, it's fine.
No, that's actually totally fine to have because it makes it harder for them to chew out of the lock.
Alright.
Yeah, this hand's not going anywhere fast, but it's also pretty resistant to dying.
Yeah.
The only thing I would worry about with this hand would be like Laboratory Maniac combo, and they can't do it with Dread Return. So they're gonna have to be on like Doomsday or some other weird Labman combo.
Yeah.
Or something really out there like Biovisionaries.
Is that played in Value Vintage?
People are trying. I've seen several lists for it in the last month or two.
Interesting.
Because it's a completely non-damage, non-targeting win condition, just like Labman.
Interesting. Isn't Biovisionary the one card's ban Commander?
I don't think so. It's Biorhythm.
Oh, Biorhythm. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, Biovisionary is a creature where if you have like 4 of them, you just win on your upkeep, I believe.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And so you just play Biovisionary and some clones.
Got it. Let's do one more hand and we'll wrap it up. Survey says. Yeah. That's pretty good.
This hand has a ton of potential to draw into stuff. It also has a removal spell, so like you're not going to die to the first creature they play. This hand is pretty borderline in my opinion. But we can try it and see where it goes.
So turn 1, Plains Bobble.
I would turn 1 Island Portent targeting us, okay. Bobble, and then we want to set up our next few draws with the Portent so that we can get to action faster.
Alright, see what our next 3 draws are. Alright.
So we would shuffle those, so we would draw none of those.
Yeah. So ignore Spire of Industry, play Spire of Industry. We draw Prairie Stream. Okay.
That's still land. This hand is dead. We're just dead to anything. Like a goldfish beats this.
This is bad.
We started off with a removal spell and some cantrips, and we drew nothing but mana for the first 4 or 5 turns of the game.
Yeah, that's whatever. That's not playable.
Yeah, if this had a lantern, I would keep it, but it doesn't.
Yeah. So that's the new lantern list. That's the update. We might play some games the next week. We might not. It depends on how I'm feeling. Because playing with Toad is a chore with this list.
Well, what if I play lantern and you play something else?
No, that'll go terrible. Nobody wants to see that. That's just bad.
You don't want to get massacred?
No. We'll find some other decks and such to entertain y'all with. Yeah. But yeah, we want to do an update for Lantern.
I have new brews. I also have worked on some of the older decks, so we will have a couple things to show off, as always.
But yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
If you liked the video, don't forget to like the video. If you want to see more, subscribe. And if you think that Value Vintage is bad and nobody should play it and it's terrible, you should say that in the comments because it counts as engagement for YouTube and that's still good for us.
We'll even argue with you. It'll be fun.
Oh yeah, my time is worth nothing. I will argue in the YouTube comments with anybody.
Toad argues online regardless of YouTube comments.
It is a hobby.
We are both unemployed. We will argue with you. It'll be fun. We'll have a great time. Like and subscribe.
Bye.
Anyway, thank you very much, everyone. If you're watching, check out the left side of the screen. There's a video recommended just for you. It's special. You should watch it. And then underneath that is the playlist of the other Magic Talk with Toads. There's tons of us. You should watch them. They're cool. We have set reviews or top picks, including a PowerPoint, which we might do more often. And also, I have another project involving PowerPoints that you should keep an eye out for. It's still on the wraps, still being talked about in the developmental stage, but it's a pretty cool idea, and I'm pretty proud of it. So you should keep an eye out for that. And yeah, thank you very much, and we will talk to you all later. Bye!
Yep, see y'all.